When the dust settled on the shores of Alexandria, the world was irrevocably changed. Rome, under the iron will of Octavian, stood as the undisputed master of the Mediterranean. The spoils were immense. The boundless wealth of Egypt, a kingdom that had endured for millennia, now poured into Roman coffers. But this was more than just a conquest of land and gold. It was the end of an era, the final, decisive blow in a long and bloody civil war that had torn the Roman Republic apart. In Rome, the news was met with jubilant celebration. Octavian, the shrewd and calculating heir of Julius Caesar, returned not just as a conqueror, but as a savior. He was the man who had ended the chaos, who had defeated the decadent East and its bewitching queen. The Senate lavished him with honors, solidifying his power. His rival, Mark Antony, once the most powerful man in Rome, was posthumously declared a traitor. A man seduced and corrupted by a foreign enchantress, Cleopatra was portrayed as a schemer, a threat to Roman values and stability. The propaganda machine worked tirelessly, painting a black and white picture of Roman virtue triumphing over Egyptian vice. This narrative was crucial for Octavian. It justified the war, erased Antony's considerable legacy, and paved the way for his own ascent. He would soon cast aside the pretense of the Republic and, as Augustus, become Rome's first emperor, ushering in the Pax Romana, an unprecedented era of peace built upon the ashes of his enemies. The victory was absolute, politically and militarily. Rome had won, but back in Alexandria, the silence was deafening. The vibrant, multicultural metropolis, a beacon of learning and commerce, was now a city in mourning. Its queen was gone, its independence lost forever. The Romans, once allies and trading partners, were now occupying forces. For the people of Egypt, this wasn't a glorious victory. It was a devastating subjugation. Their world had been turned upside down. The Ptolemaic dynasty, which had ruled for 3 centuries since the days of Alexander the Great, was extinguished. Cleopatra wasn't just their queen. She was seen as the reincarnation of the goddess Isis. Her death, and the subsequent execution of her son Caesarion, Julius Caesar's only known child, severed a divine link to their past. The Romans might have seen her as a dangerous siren, but to her people, she was a fierce protector who had fought to preserve their way of life against the encroaching shadow of Rome. In the quiet temples and bustling marketplaces, her name was now whispered with a mixture of reverence and sorrow. The official Roman story might be one of triumph, but on the streets of Alexandria, it was a story of profound loss. And what of the lovers at the heart of this epic storm? In death, Antony and Cleopatra achieved something that had eluded them in life: immortality. As Octavian meticulously constructed his empire of stone and law, the story of his rivals began to build a different kind of empire, one of memory and myth. While Octavian's victory was a matter of historical record, the tragic love between the Roman general and the Egyptian queen captured the human imagination in a way that political maneuvering never could. Their story had everything: passion, power, ambition, betrayal, and a spectacular, heartbreaking end. They chose death together rather than face the humiliation of being paraded in Octavian's triumph. This final, defiant act transformed them from political failures into legendary lovers. They became symbols of a love so powerful it could challenge empires, a passion that valued dignity above survival. The story wasn't just about a Roman civil war anymore, it was about a love that defied the world. This is where we see a fascinating clash between power and memory. Octavian, as Augustus, would go on to rule for over 40 years. He reshaped Rome, built magnificent structures, and established a dynasty. He controlled the present and did his best to control the historical narrative for the future. He had all the power, yet 2,000 years later, who truly captures our imagination more? The efficient, calculating emperor, or the flawed, passionate lovers who lost everything? Augustus is a figure we study. Antony and Cleopatra are figures we feel. Their story resonates on a deeply human level. It reminds us that history isn't just a sequence of battles and political decrees. It's a collection of human stories driven by love, jealousy, and ambition. The official histories, written by the victors, tell one side, but art, poetry, and drama from Shakespeare to Hollywood have kept another version alive. one that champions the doomed lovers. So why does their love story outlive the empire that crushed them? Because empires, for all their might, are temporary. They rise, they flourish, and inevitably, they fall. The Roman Empire, which seemed eternal, eventually crumbled. Its legions, laws, and aqueducts are now relics of a bygone age. But the fundamental human emotions that drove Antony and Cleopatra are timeless. Love, sacrifice, and a struggle against unbeatable odds. These are themes that connect with every generation. Their story isn't just about ancient history. It's about the choices we make for love and the legacy we leave behind. They gambled everything for a shared dream and lost, but in doing so, they created a legend that has far outlasted the victor's spoils. Octavian won the world, but Antony and Cleopatra won eternity. Their story serves as a powerful reminder that while power can shape the present, it is the great stories of the heart that truly echo through history. And that's the ultimate paradox. The Roman victory was meant to erase them, to make them a footnote in the grand story of Octavian's rise. Instead, it immortalized them. The very propaganda that sought to demonize them ultimately fueled their legend. In the end, the queen who lost her kingdom and the general who lost his honor became more famous, more beloved, and more enduring than the emperor who defeated them both. Their legacy isn't written in the stone of Roman monuments, but in the heart of humanity. Thanks for watching. If you're fascinated by the stories that history almost forgot, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the past. See you next time.